It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
A strong, positive sense of self-esteem is your first step to anything you wish to accomplish. Yet too often, when we attempt to leave our comfort zone, we have that chorus of inner critics inside our heads, the itty-bitty shitty committee, as I like to call mine, whispering self-sabotaging doubt and untrue trash talk in our ear. This podcast celebrates women who rise above and move beyond any self-doubt and old, outmoded limiting beliefs. Women who have reconnected with who they truly are, that gorgeous, talented, fabulous gift to the world who deserves recognition and unconditional love. My hope is that their insights inspire all of you to do the same. You know the most beautiful thing any woman can wear is confidence. Here on Confidence in Bloom with the Divas That Care Network, I, Tina Spolatini, speak with women now secure in their own self-confidence, so we can learn from their stories of how they found themselves and became the magnificent role models they are to us all now. Today I'm talking with Alka Bailey. Alka Bailey helps people beautify their homes and gardens by creating unique hand-painted items on unusual surfaces. You can find her artwork on Alka's Garden on Instagram and Facebook. Alka was asked to be in a craft show but didn't know what to paint to sell. Her oldest daughter stated that she should paint all the rocks that she had lying around. They were all in her gardens. Well, she painted a few and liked painting on them so much that she became obsessed with painting on rocks. She has painted stones the size of her thumbnail. The largest rock was more than 3 feet across. Sometimes she sees a picture in the rock itself, which she paints as quickly as possible. Others she paints in the background, and it can take up to 6 months to paint the rest of the picture. I'm going to stop the bio there. Welcome, Alka.
Thank you. Oh, can you hear?
Yeah. I was reading, as I'm reading your bio, I'm thinking, you know what? Alka should be telling us this story. So let's go back to when your daughter told you to paint on rocks. Why don't you continue that part of the story?
Well, she had said, the reason, because I go on craft shows quite a bit, and the reason she had sent that to me, she said, you'll have all these, every time we go anywhere, there's always rocks, you bring them back home, and they're just too much in the garden. So that's what I did. I actually went into the craft show and had painted a full ton of rocks. They were all pretty big. They were not little ones, for like welcome signs and stuff like that. So, I got a lot of great response from it, and I don't think I came home with anything, or very little. I came home with very little. So that was the start of it, and from there, I think it spiraled. It was still painting on rocks. I do paint on other things, and not just rocks anymore, just only rocks. But I found that, I really liked it so much that I painted. Every time my friends would say to me, oh, you need to paint on this. And I said, no, I'm going to paint on rocks. Just leave me here. I'm happy. That's what I do. And I still paint on rocks. That is my first choice, to paint on usually, unless a customer asks for something or if my client asks for something different. So
I love that. So you always collected rocks. Obviously, you had
yes,
some
ever
kind
since
of
I was little.
Yeah, so you had that obsession, and now you're putting use to these, and so now you sell these rocks. Is that right?
I'm sorry. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I think that's awesome. I know I've seen some of your, some of the designs that you painted, and I can't believe the detail. It's so fine, and it's almost, you can't even tell that it's painting. Like I've seen some flowers that you've painted, and they look like they're actual flowers on the rocks.
That's good. That was my intention, I think the reason I like rocks so much is because I can paint the same piece on a different rock and it will look completely different just because of the shape of the rock, or if it's got like indentations or bumps on it. It changes what the outcome looks like. And I think also the other reason I actually started painting on rocks was they're a little bit cheaper than canvas, only because I can find them. So, and I wanted something different because I have a lot of friends who are artists and most of them paint on canvas. I wanted something different than canvas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a rock, like with your rocks, what you could put them in your house, in your garden, on your patio or your deck. You could do anything with them. Is it like waterproof? So if they're out in the rain, will they get ruined?
They shouldn't. I do waterproof them. I actually use at the beginning I used like a driveway sealer because I figured that was, your driveway is some sort of rock at some point and it seals it. But now they actually have a sealer for patio stones. I guess, people came in and asked for them, so that's what I've been using. The sealer for the patio stones is UV protectant, so that means the sun won't fade, which is great because certain dark colors will fade really quickly. If you have ever hung up your clothes on the line and they fade, that's why. But it's waterproof and it's like UV protectant as well.
Right.
There is spray that I can use as well. Sometimes I use that on wood because I started painting on wood again. And I use raw wood. I don't use it's already varnished and everything. Mine's actually raw, so the colors actually soak into the wood itself.
Wow, it just sounds so amazing. And so when you paint the rocks, is it like therapeutic for you, or for would you paint them for someone else, or do you paint them just for art shows?
It depends. Sometimes people will ask me about them. They want a specific rock for themselves or like a welcome sign or something like that. I do find that the smaller stones, a lot of people like to carry them in their pockets as a comfort stone. And I am a Reiki healer, so I infuse that rock with whatever they want. Like the pansies that I do, pansy is a French word for pensée. It means thought. You're thinking of someone. So that's kind of what I do infuse it with. They also say that pansies are like a magic because you're thinking of that person and that's what brings the magic to it. So it just depends on what it is. I painted like fairy doors, just little ones so that, it's small enough for kids to have a look at as well. But as I said, the smaller stones, a lot of people do like to carry them in their pocket. They're like, they feel them in there and feel comforted. Or I had one person say that they find it in there and it's like, oh, it's something familiar and I know this will work. And that's what I've been told. So
that's really cool. So what inspired you, Alka, to combine your Reiki practice and your painting or your art?
Well, I think that anybody, when they do any sort of art, they do put their energy into it because you have to think, I do. I think of what I want to put on and what suits that rock better than something else. And I just thought, well, because I am using my energy when I paint, because I do, even if it's someone asks me for something specific, they'll give me a picture and say, can you create something similar to this? I get another vision and that's what I create. So I do actually, sometimes I do meditate prior to painting whatever they're looking for, and then it just flows once that's started. So I think that's where I started. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Do you, so then you believe then that your Reiki or your meditation is also helping whoever either ordered the painting or will buy the painting?
Yes, and sometimes they are, like someone will order a piece for their, like say their daughter or something like that, and they want it something specific, then I feel that it will help the end person, like the person who receives it.
Right, that's so cool. Reiki is, I know, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've learned a little bit. And I've learned that it's basically healing the energy in the body. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so you're passing that on.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. That is really cool. And so that would also be, like, it's not always emotional energy. It's also spiritual as well. Am I right?
Yes, can be. But yes, it can be spiritual as well. It's not always healing. Some people need different areas, I guess, of healing. So I just find that because the energy goes in, like most of it's joy or love. Sometimes I do put magic or good fortune, depending on what piece it is. And like I do little animals as well. So they have their own sort of energy, if you know what I mean. They, like it can, whether you Google or if you know someone, you can find out the different meanings of or symbolisms of, like, say, owls. Owls are like wise. They have ancient knowledge. They're mysterious. So that's a type of energy I put into it. Most of mine seem to have like weird faces. They're not very negative energy. Like they don't look like they're mad or anything like that. So, and it gives me great joy to paint them. So I think maybe that's what I put into a lot of them as well. So,
I love that. That's really cool. So like you're meaning that if you're painting an owl,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't really seem to have much expression that I'm aware of, but let's just say that, whatever picture you have in your mind, or if you're copying from, or not copying, but like you're looking at another photo or an owl itself, and it
mm-hmm.
has like a negative looking face, you change that.
For the most part, I did do a rather large owl, and someone said it's scary, and I thought, okay, maybe they think owls are scary. I don't know. Owls in real life can be scary. I'm not saying they can be mean, but I think it also depends on the person who receives it, their interpretation. So I find that most of my customers say that whatever they get is cute or very pretty, or, they, because I make the tiny, I don't know if you've seen them, they're pocket frogs. They are a pebble, and I painted it into a frog. So like a really, I think the smallest one has been the size of my thumbnail. That was the smallest. I don't think I want to do that again, but it's really small. But the pebbles aren't. They're no bigger than a Artuni. So, that's the base of it. So that's no bigger than that. So, but I find that, people like to carry them, whether they put them in their pockets or just keep them in a planter. Some people actually travel with the frogs. So I do have a customer who does that. So she would bring it, like she'd be at home, she would bring it. She'd have it near her computer. If she went to her dad's place, the frogs would go with her and then sit at her computer at her dad's house. So she says it gave her great comfort because just because her dad wasn't doing well. So she liked it for that fact, and she likes frogs as well. So I tried to, like, if someone asked me, one of my clients asked me to paint a panda for her sister. And it took me a little bit of time because I had to find the right shape stone. I did find the right shape stone, so it took me a little bit longer than I'd hoped. But people seem to like animals on stones for some reason, or maybe it's just the right people that I picked, or that I find that like stones. So you definitely have to like rocks or stones or something like that in order to, I guess, purchase one or Now, some people don't like rocks, which is fine. Not everybody likes whatever type of art you have anyways. So,
Right.
like it is definitely, is it called in the eye of the beholder? I think that's what, if you like stuff like that, then it's great. But some, people ask, well, do you hang it up on the wall? I said, not usually. It'll fall off. I said, you'd hurt yourself. But there are pieces that, that will stand up by themselves. So they could definitely go, even on the floor if you wanted, if you got like a big one. And sometimes, sometimes I have to find the right shaped rock because I had a customer ask me to paint 2 great big huge owls that would sit outside on her deck. So they have to be somewhat flat enough. They can be, not completely flat, but they somewhat have to be flat enough so they can sit somewhere too. So.
Oh yeah. Well, there's all shapes of rocks, right? You don't change any of the rocks. So when you get them, like you basically just clean them up and leave them the way you found them.
Usually I don't add, I know some people add putty to the bottom just so they can stand properly. I never think of it at the time. So I I could do that, but, or get like little stands for them or something like that as well. So, but some people do like that. Some don't. So.
Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting. I'm not really one for being outside, so rocks have never been really, my thing. Although I came home after the weekend and I saw a big rock that's been painted with a big dog on it. And I don't know where it came from. I'm assuming it's from my son's girlfriend because she works with children and she babysits. She's a early childhood care. I don't know what her position is really called, but I have a feeling that she painted this rock and he liked it and he brought it home. But I was oh my God, it's so funny that shows up and I'm talking with Alka in just a few days. I thought this is really cool. I forgot to ask him, so I'm going to have to ask him when he gets home from work. So how do you navigate the balance between like your Reiki and your creativity? Like there's got to be some kind of like a tug at some time where, the Reiki might be taking over more of your energy than the actual painting. How do you balance that?
I'm not sure if it does that or not. I don't know. I really don't know. I just, I don't know. When I paint, it just comes straight from my third eye. I don't really, unless I'm doing something in particular, I have to look at, like a picture. Right now I'm actually doing a basset hound on a rock. And the first time I painted it, I sketched it out and everything. I sketch in sketchbooks and then put it on rock because then I have to get the proportion right? But I just want to do the original shape of what it looks like. But I sketched it on the rock, and then when I painted it in, it's the face doesn't look right. So I painted out what I needed to do, and then I repainted it so the face looks a little bit better. But in that case, when I was drawing this dog or painting this dog, I had the background. They didn't want the background, the picture that they had. It was inside someone's house, and it was kind of messy. They said, I don't want that. Can you paint that out? And I said, sure. That's not a big deal. I can paint it out, put something else in. But in that case, I'm actually looking at a picture and painting it from there, painting what I see. I put the energy in it, but I think my energy and my painting kind of go hand in hand. Because quite often I do use energy work to paint my pictures. I have an idea of what it should look like. I already have an idea in my third eye what it's going to look like when it turns out. People look at it and they say, well, I said, no, that's just the first layer. I said, I'm not finished yet. It will take a little bit of time. So, and certain things, sometimes I sketch out quite a few things beforehand, on rock, because I can always wipe it off. I don't like what it looks like. So But I use the shapes of the rocks as well to draw the picture, I guess, to paint the picture. And
I guess you'd have to have some kind of preparation for that so that you know, because, I mean, some of those rocks that you're working with, they're pretty small. So you have to sort of prepare that rock to fit the picture that you're looking at.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Like the pocket frogs, I look for, I look for certain shapes. Even with the owls, there are certain shapes that, to me, suggest an owl. Like, you know, they have like a thinner head, like a smaller head, and the body kind of is big, and then it goes back to small. So I do look for shapes when I go rock hunting. And sometimes I find things like I was looking for owl shapes. I was looking, you know, and I get them home and I wash them out because sometimes there's dirt in it, depending where I find it, right? And I wash all the rocks. And I turned the rock over and I saw a completely different picture than an owl. So I painted it the way I saw it. It was just the indentations in the rock, you know, I guess it had chipped away or something like that. And it looked like a waterfall. Like I had turned the rock over and went, oh, I see a picture in here. And I painted it that way. I painted the waterfall, and I was like, so it's, you know, that happy I found this, like instead of an owl, like, you know, and I painted the way what I saw in the rock. So it was kind of cool, actually.
That is really cool. Well, and I guess that's the artist's eye, right? That's like, as an artist, that it comes natural to you. Right? I mean, I'll be honest. If I look at a rock and you ask me what I see, I'm going to look at it and go, well, I see a rock, right? Whereas you would look at it and you go, well, I see a waterfall, or I see a cityscape, or I see, you know, an animal of, you know, or I see, you know, a beautiful blue dress. Like, obviously that comes to you naturally. That does not come to me naturally. Sometimes someone asks me about the clouds, you know, do you see, you know, a certain shape? And I look at it and I just see a white bump, you know, cotton ball.
Yeah. I see pictures in a lot of things. Like I see faces quite often, but not, you know, like I'll look at a tree a different way and, oh, look, there's two eyes there, and I see a nose, and it's like, well, people say, well, how do you see that? I said, I don't know, I just see it. So I think certain people, you know, again, looking at a cloud, say you're lying on the ground and you look up and you see a cloud, some people don't see anything, and other people will see like a dragon or something, you know, like, oh, look at this shape, and it's like, it just varies.
Yeah.
But I've always been like that. I see like pictures or, and as again, like a tree, if I see something and it looks, oh, look, this could be like, you know, the neck of something or the whatever, and I see different things. So I've always been like that. It's hard to describe when I was younger, but I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As an artist, you know, like you understand what you're seeing and feeling, right? And I mean, I don't understand it, but I can also like get it, right? Like I can get that you have that feeling and that you feel the energy through your art pieces. I went to a healing retreat one time, and this lady that was there had like to me it looked like a chess game, but all the all the little men, I'm going to call them men, they weren't really rocks, they were more like statues. But you know, hearing you speak now, it's making me think of those. You could actually do like a little village by painting a rock, like painting all these different rocks, right? Because they're different sizes and shapes, and you could make people, you could make buildings, you could do like, you know, like at Christmas time, lots of people have those villages. You could probably paint something like that. That would be super cool.
I have done that I actually did it with my grandsons, and I had brought the rocks, and they have a fairy garden, so that's what it started from. And I said, oh, look, this, because I had seen something on, I guess it was Facebook, or somebody had sent me something about little villages that you could make out of stone, paint it look like a stone, and paint it and have it look like a building. So, you know, my grandsons play with cars. So that's what it started from. And they thought it was a great idea. And then I brought the stones and they painted them. And I said to my grandson, doesn't this look like a house with a chimney? And he said, I don't see it, And I said, well, look, here's the chimney. And he said, oh, I see it now. So I just think I painted that one with like the chimney part to look like bricks. You know how brick chimneys and stuff like that, yeah. So I do see stuff like that, and I think it's great for like fairy gardens. And that's when I go to craft shows, that's what I have. I have a little sign saying "Welcome to the Fairy Garden" because a lot of these are fairy garden things. A lot of the little stuff, anyways, not the great big. Well, yeah, I guess you could use the big, huge stuff as well, but I have little stone pieces of fairy doors. So they are brickwork, and then the door is in there, and there's some trees and some flowers. So and each one is, I did 4 designs so that people could, I want this one or I want that one. So that's kind of neat. And someone asked me, well, what would you do with that? And I said, you could put it in a planter, you could put it at the base of a tree, you could put it in a tree. There's, some trees have holes in them. I said you could stick it right in there, and that would look kind of cool. So she said she wanted just some ideas, and she did end up buying a fairy door. So she liked my ideas. I said you don't have to put it in a planter or in your garden. You could put it in a tree or, I don't know, wherever you like, really.
Well, they're decorative, right? I mean, they're beautiful. The ones that I've seen, they are beautiful, and you could, put them. They should be displayed, right? You want people to see them because they are beautiful. Now, the fact that you use them also with your Reiki, that makes them healing as well, which is, I think that's just an extra bonus. If someone if a client came to you, Alka, and asked you to paint them a rock to give to, say someone that they know that is not well and, possibly dying from a terrible disease, you don't need to know the person that it's going to. You just need to basically know the story. Is that how it works?
Yes. What they're looking for, like, I guess just some happy energy or, because, if you're sick, you don't feel the greatest. You don't really want to do much, right? So I guess it depends on your sickness too, but I think that that what I put in my stones or my pieces, what I hope that they see is the joy. They get joy from it or happiness from it. And I do infuse it sometimes with love as well, depending on what it is. And someone did suggest to me that I start writing words on the back, and it's like, okay, I can incorporate that in, but my name's usually on the back in little small letters, so people always think that means something, and I said, no, it's just my name. I said, I don't want to ruin the front of the picture, so I put it on the back. But,
and it has to call to you, right? As the artist, you have to do what you feel is right for this piece.
Yes, I do that as much as I can.
Yeah. And so, okay, so now I know that you rocks, but you also at one point said that you paint any hard surface. So is that, like, do you mean in a natural sense, like that comes from the earth?
I try to. As I said, I've started painting raw wood or pieces of bark. I paint on bark as well. I've painted on wood. Most recently, I actually painted on someone's wall. So inside their house, not outside their house. But, I've painted brick. I like the natural surface. I think they have a little bit more character because they're three-dimensional, most of them. And you can get I painted three-dimensional pictures on rocks that, like, maybe I've painted 2 sides. There was one that I painted all 3 sides. It was a brick of some sort, and I painted a castle on it. So the customer was so, like, he put it on his mantelpiece. It was actually from mementos for one of my friends when it was their 20th anniversary. They asked me to come and be the artist and paint stones at their guests picked out. I said, you realize I will not paint there? I said, just because I said, I can't visit with your guests to find out what they're like, first of all. And I said, I want to be able to talk to them so I know what kind of, what they're looking for. And what happened was this man actually has more rocks than me, but anyways, so his guests picked out the rocks they wanted. I said, they can pick out whatever size they want. He says, I don't care what size they pick out, just, go from there. And they gave me what they wanted on there, and I turned around and did for them. So I think they had about 20 people there, and I turned around and did 20 rocks for them. I brought them home. I had a list of, and then pictures of what people wanted, what rock was theirs, type of thing, so I could keep track of everything, and just went from there. The guy who wanted he wanted something three-dimensional, and he gave me a brick to go ahead and do. And my friend said it looked like he said it looked like some I can't remember who does 3D art. Not Picasso. Dolly, that's it. Dolly. He said it looked like a Dolly creation. I said, I don't know. He told me he wanted something three-dimensional, and I thought castle. Castle is three-dimensional, so that's what I did. So he's actually got it on his mantelpiece in his house. He says, I'm not putting it outside. I want it inside. So I think that's a great honor, because he was so ecstatic that he got something that was three-dimensional, and he put it up on his mantelpiece. So. Oh,
that's so awesome. I just love that. So do you, when you make your art, do you, I'm going to guess that the Reiki is on your end only, and you don't necessarily, advertise with your art that's part of it.
I do. If they, some people have asked me, I do say, all my pieces, when they go out to the customer, they're always I put in that they're infused with Gaia Reiki so that they know. Some people do come back and ask me, what is that? I said, is earth. I use earth energy. That's a mouthful to say. Earth's energy to paint my pieces. So the stones come from earth as well. So they have, they actually do have their own energy. I don't even chunks of wood have their own energy. I don't know if you spend time outside, if you do, if you put your hand up against a tree, you can feel the energy pulsing through there as well. The trees are alive, and people say stones are not, but they also have their own energy. They all carry an energy. Everything actually has an energy, like you would have energy as well. And Reiki can be used by anyone. It is your energy. It's a transference of energy. That's all it is. So just think of the internet has energy. Radio waves have energy. So it's just using energy that you already have in your body, and you can definitely share it with other people as well. Sometimes it's like a tingling, when you get the pins and needles in your fingers and toes. That's what it can feel like. Not necessarily. Not everybody feels it. That's okay. I think the rocks have the same sort of energy. They have an energy to them. I think that's why I started collecting rocks when I was a kid. I just liked the way they felt or the way they looked.
Oh,
and
yeah, that sounds really cool. That just the idea of it. I don't remember what it was like, when I was a kid, when I would pick things up off my brother used to collect gold, he used to call it, right, when he would dig them out of the dirt. Of course, they were just rocks, but, they were shiny, and so to him, they were gold. And I remember, we would make a game out of it, right? And I remember it feeling really cool, and it wasn't just a rock. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but I remember thinking it feels different, not just like a rock. So I know what you're saying. Is there anything, Alka, that you want to share with our listeners about your rocks and about your art, maybe your Reiki?
I think about my art. Well, years ago I was told that painting is not a job. It's a hard job. You can't make money out of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, so I think that's why I started painting on rocks, because I figured they're free and, they're a fun thing. And I'm very surprised that they are selling. So that's, that I think is fantastic. And I didn't realize I was painting on rocks for 25 years. So that's a long time to be painting on something like that. But I guess that's what other artists would say. They paint on canvas. They've been painting for 50 years on canvas. So some people start later. Some people start earlier. So, but definitely I infuse all my pieces with Reiki energy, Gaia Reiki. Earth's energy comes back up, and that's what I put into my paintings.
I love that. I think that is just, that just, tops it off. You're not just painting just to paint. You're painting to spread your love and your joy. That's amazing.
Yes, that's what I do. It's just, I guess my love for rocks comes out in what I paint or something like that. And I did want to let your listeners know also that I do ship. So say if you wanted something, but you didn't want it for yourself, you wanted it, say, for your sister who lives in the States. This is an example, not for real. I would then, confer with you what they wanted or whatever you had in mind, and paint it up, send you what it looks like, but send it out and send you the bill as well and all the information that you would need, and send it out to your sister. So I've done that for customers. I figured I have one customer, if I send her things, she won't send them to whoever they're supposed to go to. She'll keep them for herself. So she's asked me if I would just send them, and I said, sure, I don't mind. She does do that.
That's too funny. When she sees the final outcome, she's like, no, I like this way too much to give it away. Oh, that's too cute. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today, Alka. This has been great. I think, art comes naturally, and I'm so amazed at how, I've seen your work, and I think it's amazing. And to think that comes to you naturally, I'm like, I don't know the word. I love it. I'm a little bit jealous that I'm not artistic in that way, right? But then I think, we all have our own creativity in our own bodies, and yours comes out in your art. So I love that. I really, really love that.
I was going to say there's other things I don't do well. So there's a lot of things I don't do well, but I do art well. Like I'm not the best at painting dogs. Like right now I'm painting that dog, but I will keep at, especially on rock, it's easier just to paint over what I don't like and then repaint it. On wood, it's not so easy. The wood is not as forgiving as rock. Like rock, you can paint over and over and over again. And wood, once you paint it, that's it. Kind of,
Oh, so you have to be really careful when you paint on wood. Make sure that you do it right from the beginning.
Yes, it has to be right. My sketch has to be on point. And sometimes wood doesn't take sketching very well because it's wood. Your marks that you leave on the wood will stay there. Rock is a little bit easier to, the only thing usually I trace on rock is letters, like if I'm putting a welcome because I want it to look good, or buildings, because buildings, again, have to be exact. Like if I put a lighthouse on a rock, I need it to be exact or else it will look crooked. Or when lighthouses go up, so they start wide and they kind of narrow. Well, if it's too narrow, then it looks funny as well. So But
Right.
on wood, I really have to be specific. Like, I have to be careful. I don't go outside of the lines if on wood, because unless I can kind of wing it that way. If it's like in the clouds or something like that, or the sky, then it's not so bad. But on rock, I don't have to be exact.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And I celebrate that you can do this and it comes to you naturally. I think that's amazing.
Yes. My love of rocks has really helped. I have enough selection.
Yeah. I bet you do. I bet you do. Yes. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel, they don't even look like that. You are an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. In Full Bloom Styling and Coaching offers an online course combined with one-to-one coaching in confidence building, personal branding, and creating your signature fashion look. Chic definitely does come in every shape, so if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom, contact me through Instagram at InfoBloomStyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.